Hello, my name is Soundjip, and welcome to something that we haven't done in quite a while, which is an SJ Talks. And SJ Talks is basically a podcast, quote unquote, where I just ramble out whatever comes to mind. So if that interests you for some reason, you can stick around. I'm going to try and keep this one relatively short though, mainly because I have to get content out on Friday. If you want to know why, I try to keep myself, at least for the foreseeable future, to a upload schedule, which is that something comes out on a Tuesday and then something comes out on a Friday. I hope I got that right. If you look at the last few uploads, it should show you when they came out. Well, it will show you, but I hope I got that right. Tuesday and Friday is my aim, and I have to get something out on Friday. But it's Wednesday night right now, and I wanted to record a tutorial, but I've had some issues and problems with certain things, and it's mostly to do with OBS, the screen recording software, but it's more because of my computer's CPU not being very good. So that's kind of where I'm at just now, kind of content-wise. So we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and we're just going to ramble for about 10 minutes or so, and that's where it's going to be. So, sorry if you heard the click there, I might have cut it out, but I'm just wanting to talk about music production, content creation, and just a bit of kind of life in general. I'm not going to try and give any advice because I don't have any advice to give really, but just talking about production and music in general and just how that applies to life. So far recently I've managed to sort of rekindle a fire for music production, which I thought wasn't really going to happen again. I used to be a sound production major. That's what you would call that in the US, right? I studied for 2 years at degree level on an audio production course, an audio engineering course that had a bit of music production as well. And I absolutely hated it. It wasn't for me personally, but I felt like I had to stick around, and it just sucked all of the soul I had for anything to do with sound just out of me. And it took me months to even boot up something like Mixcraft or even turn my MIDI keyboard on. Well, my MIDI keyboard was always on, but to even boot up something like Mixcraft and even think of trying to make music was just, it was far too much for me. I got way too used to being in an environment where I'm constantly faced with a problem after problem after problem, and I saw it as a never-ending spiral. It wasn't true. It was a good opportunity which I didn't use. And if you are doing an audio degree, I don't think you need the audio degree personally. But if you're there already, make the most of it. But if you do want to leave, I advise that you leave. You know, I've already broken the promise of no advice. But yeah, so my passion for music was pretty much gone, and it's only until very recently that I've started doing it, and it's actually been fun. The Let's Soundjip It album originally was a sort of portfolio for the type of music that I make, and it was meant to be used for a website, a Soundjip website that it exists, and if you want to see it, I can publish it if you like. But it's just a Wix website with my YouTube link, my SoundCloud, my Spotify, and whatever other music streaming services that I'm on. DistroKid is odd because it automatically ticks some stuff which I didn't even know existed. But yeah, that's kind of where that was at. So Let's Soundjip It was a portfolio basically. It was 9 songs that I thought conveyed different moods and switched genres sort of. I've always been kind of like lo-fi chiptune style for me. I've always sort of seen my music as it would fit really well on an N64 game. Star Fox or something like that. But yeah, that's just been me. So even if I make something like trap or even like house or techno, it's probably still going to sound quite lo-fi and video gamey because I'm very kind of soundtracky overall. My stuff sounds fairly dramatic, so that's just kind of how it is. I can't make something that sounds cool. I can make things that sound dramatic, though. I can make things that sound cool, but it just takes an insane amount of effort. I do have a lot of appreciation for the guys that make things like hip hop and like the beat creators, the beat makers. they really, really inspire me. There's someone in the Mixcraft community, and I've completely forgotten your name. I want to say it's, I want to say it's, I want to say it's Temple, like Temple, but I don't think I've got that right. He's a rapper. He uses Studio One now more than Mixcraft, but he used to be he still is to a certain extent a big part of the Mixcraft community, and he made a lot of tutorials. He talked a lot about Mixcraft. He got feedback he gave feedback to Acoustica, and Acoustica replied to him on a few occasions. So I'd say he's quite a big guy. He's up there with things like fans of Mixcraft and things like that. I know this is really, really niche because Mixcraft is a very small DAW, especially in comparison to even Studio One or especially Ableton or Pro Tools. But that's kind of where I'm at production-wise. Those are the content creators that I like to watch. So I've forgotten my original point actually. Yeah, it was that Let's Soundjip it was a sort of portfolio, but I've noticed, I knew this the whole time, everything that I can make is dramatic rather than cool, and I have a lot of appreciation for the hip-hop beat creators, specifically the person that I named there, for making something that sounds cool rather than dramatic, right? Especially using things like a minor key and stuff like that, which I can't do. I can't not, most of pretty much every song that I've ever made is in a minor key, and I can't not do dramatic when it comes to a minor key, and I can't not do cheesy when it comes to a major key either. It takes an insane amount of brain power for me to get out of those kind of two modes, so that's kind of where that is. So I've currently just sort of rekindled that fire, if you will, and it's mainly been because of the it's hard to say really. It's mainly been because one of my friends is a content creator as well. They're very dedicated to their content creation, and they're constantly improving their content creation. And it's really awesome. And I really appreciate their work ethic when it came to that. So that was one of the big reasons where my spark to do content kind of came back. Another one was that I recently have become unemployed, straight up. I used to work in a call center. And I'm about to start a job at Amazon, but other than that, it doesn't matter, right? That's just my personal life, but it's not too personal to where you can track me down and whatever you want to do to me, because I'm a random guy on YouTube with 45 subscribers now, apparently. It doesn't matter, right? But yeah, so unemployed for about a month and a half or 2 months. I can't remember now. No, it's way longer than that. It's about See, the call center was so weird, man. It was a 0 hours contract, so you didn't have specific working hours, even though I kind of did. I worked on the vaccine program in the UK, not like prime time vaccine, like in December. At least in the UK, it was like December to about March. But I did the spring booster for like March 2021, December 2020. December 2021. I'm sorry. December 2021 to like March 2022 was like your big vaccine year, to me at least. Whereas I was like spring 2023 down in England of all places as well. So that was quite an experience. But then that program ended after about 3 months. I worked for about 3 days a week. I was also studying a social science course at the time. I still am. But I've just moved up a level basically. I really think I've got a new appreciation for free education, to be honest. Do I think it should be free? I don't know. But it's benefited me, and if it's benefited me, I'd want it to benefit others. So I'd say I'd vote in favour of it being free. But anyway, enough politics, right? Because that's just, there's no logistics to that or anything. But because I'm not a political guy at all, I'm interested in politics, but I'm not very good at it. But yeah, I'm already, like, I think I'm going to go way over 10 minutes, but I've really kind of rekindled my fire, like I said. It's been mostly because of my friend. Two of my friends, actually. One of my friends makes content less frequently than the other one, but his content is extremely well made. And it's quite inspiring to see as well. I think that there's quite a lot of, for music, if we're going back to music, there was quite a lot of very dark feelings for me when it came to music, mainly just because of life circumstances at the time. and also the degree. So I had like a ton of baggage to work through to even think of making music again, because I've never really done it full on professionally. I've done it kind of semi professionally, right? I think I've been paid max, like maybe probably less than 1 month's rent, and that's like my entire music career. So, if you want to even call it career. So I never really did it for money in the first place. So it was quite, I didn't really have a reason to stay on. I wasn't having like a full paying job that paid my rent, and I was employed at the time. But yeah, the fires came back for in a legitimate way. I made a video last year. I don't know if it's still up, called "How to Overcome Procrastination" or something like that, and I did that because I was going through the Soundjip album process, right? And it was an album I didn't want to make. And ironically, I think it's my best work so far. I think Let's Undo It is slightly worse. But I think Let's Soundjip It is just more cohesive, but it was more cohesive because it had to be, right? Let's Undo It didn't have to be as cohesive. But yeah, making the Let's Soundjip It album was really, really enjoyable. It wasn't enjoyable actually. It was fulfilling, but it was really, really stressful because I was needing to hit a deadline for a degree rather than, I'm just doing this because it's fun. It's now hit the deadline for the degree, which is what you're expected to do professionally. So I get it, but I knew I wasn't going to do music professionally. That was just my thing at the time, and it was me that chose to stay in. I actually chose to stay because I was scared that if too many people left that course, the lecturers or the teachers, whatever you want to call them, or the professors, yeah, if you're in the US, right, would get punished for it, or even sacked, right, or fired, because that was quite scary for me, to be honest, and that was my main motivation for staying on in the second year especially. But yeah, the fact that my music kind of fires came back, that's quite enjoyable. I've got a decent backlog now. Not a backlog, what's the word? I've built a good pillow, I'm going to call it that. I've built a good like pillow or blanket or whatever you want to call it to lie on in case I don't make content for a decently long time. I've got about a month or two's worth of content already either uploaded or ready to upload. And to be fair, that is only the music side. I do still have to do the videos like these, which are more personable. So that's where that is, I suppose. But yeah, that's I guess neither here nor there, because those are either tutorials or they're these things, or they're in real life videos. If I want to ever vlog something, I probably won't though. So unless something very interesting happens in my life that I feel like I want to document. But yeah, that's kind of where it is so far. I don't know where this is going. I don't know what point this is trying to make. I don't know why you're still here, actually, if you're still listening, but thank you for being here. I guess what I want to say is that passion does come and go. Don't live your life based off of passion, right? Don't do your hobbies. Well, your hobbies may be based off of passion, is fair, but don't, live life based off of passion. Live life based off of a combination of discipline and passion, right? But recently those two things have finally came together, but it took about 2 or 3 years of just death, creatively and just emotionally to kind of get there. So I wouldn't recommend going through that to build your discipline. I just recommend doing something because you enjoy it, and if it becomes a career or if it becomes something that you study, to just continuously keep doing it and trying to improve little by little every time. For me, it's just simply trying to make every song better than the other one. And for you, it could be trying to make the painting better. It could be trying to make the essay better, the equation better. Maths is more difficult because there's just objective right and wrong, right? Or it could be the story, the script, the anything, right? The recording. If you're a if you're an audio engineer in particular. I'm not, though, and I would not wish that upon anyone else to be one, because that just sounds, sorry, that does not sound like a fun job to me to me personally. And by audio engineer, I mean like freelance audio engineer. Oh, that sounds awful. But yeah, producer is just as bad, to be fair. But at least with producer, it has the same issue of job insecurity. But I enjoy producing music more than recording music. That's just me personally. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm going to end this one, because I don't want to go above 20 minutes, and 15 minutes is a place where I can gladly stay. Yeah. I hope that you've enjoyed this little podcast, and like I said, don't live life based on a passion, but don't live life purely on discipline either. Try and create a balance between both of them. If that's not possible, that's fine. Discipline is something that you can fall back on, and if passion comes back, that's even better, which is where I'm at just now. So just remember that periods of passion and periods of disinterest come and go, but remember that discipline will stay with you forever, and don't do what I did, where I didn't make anything for 2 years. Yeah, so thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.